There are two key things to consider before recording a user journey. The first is to close all browser instances, and the second is to plan your recording. When thinking about your recording, you should consider the steps you will take, i.e. the web pages you will visit, and the data you will enter into them. To record a new user journey in Stress Tester, click the Record a User Journey button to start the wizard. After reading the information screen, click Next, and then you are asked to enter a name for the user journey and the application which is being tested by the user journey. I am going to record a user journey to browse for and buy books against a bookstore application I have running on my local machine. If I wanted to, I could enter a description. Clicking Next allows me to choose the browser which I'm going to use for the recording. I'll use Internet Explorer. I can then specify an initial URL, which is the home page for the bookstore. I can give this page a name, and again, if I wanted to, I could enter a description. I have the choice here to clear the browser's cache and cookies. This is always wise unless you have a specific reason not to do so, as this will ensure that the browser makes the maximum number of requests to render all the web pages, and therefore your recording will be complete. If my application used client-side security certificates for authentication, I could specify details here of a file that contains the security certificate. This application does not, so I click Finish. Stress Tester then opens the Stress Tester annotation window and also a browser pointing to the page that I specified in the previous step. The annotation window allows you to specify to Stress Tester what you're about to do within the browser. This therefore decorates your user journey so that then when you look at it post-recording, it is grouped in such a way that it is easy to edit, configure and to test. Along the annotation window there are 4 buttons. The first one, the flashing red dot, indicates that Stress Tester is recording. The second one, the black square, is used to stop a recording session. The third one, 2 steps, what we call a step group, which is analogous to a web page, indicates that every time I annotate using the annotation window, I'm specifying a new web page is being visited. And the last one allows me during a recording to mark any steps that my business consider to be a transaction. Any of these actions, marking request as being a step group or marking it as being a transaction of interest to the business, can be performed on the recorded user journey at a later stage. So don't worry if you actually forget to do something. I've recorded the home page. So next thing I'm going to do is search for books. And using this bubble button here, I can enter a description for the step. And I'm going to say I searched for Java. I click Annotate, and then I do the action within the browser. One thing you will notice that the steps recorded title of the annotation window is continually rising. This shows the number of requests the browser has made so far against the application. The next thing I'm going to do is to look at a book. So I will view a book, and again I will put a description that I viewed Java Beginner's Guide. When I'm happy with that, I annotate it and then go and do the action. And to confirm the purchase. When I've completed the steps in my user journey, I click the Stop button, and this returns me back to the Stress Tester GUI. Immediately after finishing a recording, the post-recording wizard runs, and this allows me to make changes to the recorded user journey. After the information screen, I'm asked whether I want to keep the sleep times that Stress Tester recorded during the recording, i.e. at the pace I ran the user journey, or whether I would like to override some of these. I will leave them as they are. Go on to the next. This screen explains that applications often use hidden session variables that go backwards and forwards between the application and the browser but are invisible to the user. Stress Tester can automatically handle these, which will ensure that your user journeys will run correctly during a performance test. By clicking Next, I instruct Stress Tester to go and see if there are any such session variables within the user journey. Indeed, it finds one, JSessionID, which indicates that this application is a Java application. So always wise to let Stress Tester handle these automatically. So I would do so by leaving the check button ticked, and I will click next again. The user journey has now been post-processed and is displayed within the Stress Tester GUI. It is now recommended that you watch the quick run tutorial so that you can play back your user journey and check that it is working correctly.